Dr. King's words about helping others mean the world to me because I wouldn't be where I am today without the help that I've received from others. And I just try to pay it forward and help as many people as I can in as many ways that I can. And truly never ask for anything back in return. I think that's the best part of giving, knowing that you're doing something great, but it's from the heart.
Well, I think any endeavor that we engage ourselves in, if it's worth anything, it usually takes more than just us. Things aren't about just an individual. And whether it was a civil rights movement or a basketball game or whatever anybody wants to organize, to do it right, to get it done, to reach a goal, it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of understanding, a lot of love. And Dr. King was certainly a great example of that.
Hey there, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Very fitting that this is the only federal holiday that has been designated also as a National Day of Service. Glad you guys are here with us. We are celebrating Dr. King, and the NBA has a long-standing tradition of celebrating him with matinee games. In fact, 9 today that start between 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, 14 total on the docket. Thank you for spending your holiday with us. I'm Stephanie Reddy, joined with Hall of Famer Kevin McHale and NBA champion Steve Smith. We're honored to be part of the team that brings you the rare nationally televised NBA quadruple header. All right, let's start this day off, gentlemen, by telling the people at home what this day means to you.
I think for me, Kevin and Stephanie, with Dr. Martin Luther King, his dream, his vision, his passion, along with Coretta Scott King, their sacrifice for all of us. And then especially for me, I think he sped up my opportunities. And so also just to say thank you for him. Thank him, Kevin, just for what he believed in. And then plain and simple, what was right, what to do right, and how we should treat others. He was just an unbelievable example, and obviously in all his supporters. I know he gets a lot of credit, but it was so many people had a part in the civil rights movement. So to me, it's a thank you for the opportunities and thank you for his passion and sacrifice, and his family, because they had to sacrifice a lot.
It's true.
Yeah, it gets back to what he really believed in, that you judge people by the content of their heart and their character, not the color of their skin. And there are times in American history when we all need to remember that, and this seems to be another one of those times. My father said the same thing. My father would tell me, Kevin, there's good and bad people of every color, every religion, every persuasion. Your job is to find the good people, because your life will be a lot better if you find the good people and hang around them. So I never, color or anything, religion, none of that stuff ever. I looked for people that had good character and people I enjoyed. And so those words really ring true. And sometimes, like I say, I think we all need to be reminded of that we judge each other by the content of our heart and our character, not the color of our skin.
Absolutely, a message that resonates today. It's time to get to some NBA basketball. As I mentioned, 4 games on tap for you guys tonight. A treat. Starting off with right here on NBA TV, Pascal Siakam, second leading vote getter in the Eastern Conference for forwards. He's averaging just a paltry 24 points, 7.5 boards for the reigning champs. Moving on to the Young Guns. Memphis Grizzlies will be hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. That's the first game on TNT, 5 p.m. Eastern. Ja Morant, last game, 16-8. They only have a nice long win streak. 7 straight. Memphis is hot.
Like that team, like that kid.
They are fun to watch. And for you Lakers fans, great news. Anthony Davis is available to play tonight. He missed the last 5 games with a bruised tailbone. They're going to need his 27-9 back as soon as possible. They take on the Boston Celtics. And the last game, the nightcap, if you will, 10 p.m. Eastern on TNT, Damian Lillard. The number 11 Portland Trailblazers hoping to make some hay in the West. Big one tonight. Golden State, very winnable game.
Yeah, they need that one tonight.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They got to start getting some wins.
They certainly do. And speaking of standings, we're going to take a look at the top of the East. 1 through 6. You can see Toronto sitting in that 3rd position. Milwaukee has put itself head and shoulders above the rest of the Eastern Conference. Everyone else is just fighting to see who's coming in next.
Yeah, I tell you what, you'd made a lot of money if you said on this day, Martin Luther King Day, Milwaukee, Heat, and Toronto would be 1, 2, and 3 in that league, because nobody would have done that. Because I didn't think Toronto was going to be able to recover from Kawhi leaving. I just thought their number 1 player leaves. I know they played last year without him a lot. He had a lot of rest, but then they did well. But I thought it's just hard to replace that guy. And the Heat, I mean, where'd they come from?
I know.
All of a sudden
Nowhere.
yeah, exactly. Nunn, Hero, these rookies they have that are just playing so well for them. And Jimmy Butler's done a great job. But, then Toronto, like I said, those standings are shocking at this time in the season.
And I know, Kevin, how much of a treat it is for me to watch the Heat,
Yeah.
to watch Toronto, teams that we all make our predictions, wouldn't have had them this high.
Yeah.
But also for me, it's disappointing because in that standings, I can't still figure out why the Philadelphia 76ers are not higher than what they are. And I know they have a lot of time. But sometimes you just can't turn it on when you want to turn it on, and that's the one thing I'm scared for the Sixers.
Agreed. And you know what? I feel the same way about my old squad, the Celtics. Every once in a while, I watch them play, and I'm like, man, what had happened? Then obviously they play really well for a while, but they have so many variances in how they play. Like, they'll play really well for a 5 or 6 game stretch. Then they'll play the next 2 or 3 games, and they forget how to play basketball? I tell you, there must be a lot of amnesia going on in this league because all of a sudden they look like they don't play. And Philly's another team. I love Joel Embiid. I mean, that guy is just a horse. And I just think he's so dominant, but all of a sudden their play does a lot of this too. They're just up and down with the 2 teams I thought would be better. But I'm with you. I love watching the Heat because they're going to play every single night hard. Same thing with Indiana. Let's not forget.
That's what I'd say. Let's not forget Indiana.
Nate McMillan's doing a great job in Indiana because they play every night hard. They hang around and hang around. Last night, Doug McDermott hits 2 left corner threes. Sabonis has a couple plays, and they end up beating Denver in Denver, a game that you never would have thought that Indiana was going to go into Denver and win. But they win games. Same thing with the Heat. They win. They're just tough. I do enjoy watching both those teams.
And Kevin, the Pacers, to me, if I'm all the other teams, they play hard right now. They've had some injuries, and they have their best player out, but coming back. I know it might take some time because he has to individually get over some things and to mesh with Malcolm Brogdon. But if it does, the way he plays and that toughness, I'll be scared to face the Pacers about some of those teams.
I'm glad you mentioned Brogdon. He's becoming, I liked him coming out of school because he just played under control. I thought he was such a huge piece to that Milwaukee puzzle last year. He gets hurt, misses some games. Indiana finds a way to scrape and scrap and win some of those games. He comes back, and he's leading that team. He goes in last night and has a left-handed hammer dunk late in the game. And I'm like, dang, I didn't know that guy had that. But he plays winning basketball because he doesn't throw the ball away. He makes positive plays for his teams, and he competes his tail off all the time. I'm really liking that kid. He and Oladipo are going to be really interesting to me how they play well together. But I'm with you. Oladipo I think he's missed 82 games in total from getting hurt last year. And man, I tell you what, I came back. I know you did. You had some injuries too. I came back in the middle of the year one time. Honest to God, I'm practicing and getting ready. The game started. I thought, when did I get so damn slow? The game was doing this. And, when you're playing and you're in rhythm, you play at your pace. And you forget how athletic and how the game, it took me a week to just kind of go, I'm in bad shape.
Yes,
I realized
no matter
that.
how much you're in bad shape.
And man, this game, I got to get my game because I am just behind on everything. And it took a while. And so I'm looking for Oladipo to come back, but it's going to be a little bit. So the Indiana people have to be patient and let him kind of go. But the standings in the East are amazing, and today we're going to see Toronto, and it'll be fun to watch them.
Yes, and I'm glad you guys talked about the injuries and coming back because that kind of leads us directly to Toronto. They had several of their core players out due to injury. They're now all back healthy. They're facing the Atlanta Hawks this afternoon, and they're basically at full strength. Fred VanVleet was the last one to return, and he came back with a bang. Are you all expecting them to be able to maintain this high level of play?
I think so. And I give them this team, this kind of the old school. I know me and Kevin are a little older, but they look like the old school NBA. And the reason why I say that, you had injuries, and you could say Kevin McHale's out. But the next man up, was he Kevin McHale? No. Was he a Hall of Famer? No. But the other guys for Toronto, Kevin, they're stepping up playing to the best of their ability. So I give a lot to their coaching staff, their development of their young players the last 2 or 3 years. I got to go talk to some of those guys because there's some of the guys that I see come up and play and looks like they belong and they've been with starters the whole year. I love that. Fred VanVleet's been out. He comes right back. Hasn't missed a beat. So I love the way Toronto, next man up, and it's truly next man up, has an opportunity.
Oh, I agree 100%. And Siakam's, they paid him like a superstar, and I thought, oh boy, this guy's a good second, third option type guy. Man, that guy, this year I went like, that guy's legit. He could win most improved again this year. And you got Fred VanVleet who does, again, he reminds me of Brogdon in some way. He just makes winning plays. But to me, more than anything else, Siakam's ability to get to the rack, he's got that spin game. He makes just enough threes that you got to, go up on him. his development from going what I thought would be a maxed out 17, 18 point guy to a 24, 25 point a game, literally a player on a team. You can be your A player, you can be your top player. I was shocked. They do a great job with their development.
And Kevin, to you to add to that, the reason why I was shocked about Siakam, I thought his shots would go up. But I didn't know he could create his own shots the way he's creating his own shots. There's a lot of guys, your second option or even the first option, but you need help. Yeah. I'm looking at him now. Well, they're isolating him, and he looks comfortable.
Yes.
So that's the part I'm taking my hat off to their development and also to the individual as well. You can tell he's worked on his game.
Yeah, late in the game, they give him the ball just mid-post on that left side. And I tell you what, he gets a good shot for himself or his teammates all the time. That's impressive because there's a lot of guys that don't have a spot on the floor. With him, you throw him down there on that left side and say, go to work, big fella, and he gets you a good shot. And those numbers that came up just for a second are unbelievable.
Raptors last 3.
They are scoring and shooting and playing at a level that makes me, I'm believing in this team. And like I said, here's those numbers again.
Yes.
Look at that, 130 points, 131 points a game. But look at the field goal percentage. Shooting 48% from the three, 57% from the overall. And the assist numbers are ridiculous, 31 assist numbers. And so I tell you what, they're impressive. And again, like I said to start off, I thought once they lost Kawhi Leonard, that would there'd just be such a void that wouldn't be able to fill it. But everybody's kind of pitched in, and like you say, next man up through these injury things. Now they're healthy. Boy, I tell you what, you do not want to play those dudes in a playoff series.
It's a scary prospect when you consider all the weapons that they have, and now they're back full strength. Their opponent tonight, or this afternoon, the Atlanta Hawks. They are a very young team, not finding a lot of victories this season, but they do have one bright star in Trae Young, who is the leading vote getter in the Eastern Conference for guards, and he can fill it up. Is he enough for them to figure out how they can win games with all that scoring?
You know what? He's not enough. It just and it's not. There's no knock on him. And I used to argue with people that in our league that didn't have a lot of talent that played. They were just grinders. I'd say if you got talent, it's easier to put up big numbers than it is to win games. And they would always look at me and they go, no. I said, I'm telling you what, winning is the hardest thing to do in the NBA. And I'm more convinced of that the more I watch the older I get. Because when you're kind of on a winning team, everybody pitches in, and it seems easy. But it is so hard because when you're not on now Trae Young is playing his tail off, doing a lot of really, really good things. It's not like moves like that, which he did. He nutmegged himself. But he's a kind of an unbelievable long range, puts up numbers, but they're not winning. I'm concerned that he's going to end up being one of those guys that puts up a lot of big numbers, Smitty, but never learns how to win. You got to win at some point earlier in your career to get that feel and that taste.
You have to. I mean, Kevin, and I think sometimes I know I came in with the Miami. We were coming off being an expansion team. When we got to that playoffs, my first year, Kevin, just getting to that playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, we played the Bulls and we got swept, and Michael averaged about 40.
Yeah.
But we got a chance to play in the playoffs. And then we had guys that, when you start losing, no matter how much you say you win, it starts to get contagious. You start to lose your focus a little bit. You start pointing fingers. I'm with you, Kevin. Trae Young, he's surprised me. I watched him in college a lot.
Yeah.
So this transfer for him leading the NCAA in scoring and assists to the NBA and almost assists and points and scoring, I mean, he has done a fantastic job individually, but the next step for him is how can I get these other guys and make them better? Yeah. That's what he has to do.
Agreed.
And that's not just on the pass. It's talking. It's also being able to come in, and we got to make plays, winning plays, even if we're losing.
And you know how it is. When you have one of those guys that unites the team, everybody rallies behind him. Like I said about Steph Curry, we played him in the playoffs in Western Conference. I had Pat Beverly, some pit bulls. I said, let's knock him on his ass a little bit, see what happens. Hell, we knock him on his ass, everybody come over, beat up our guys. They all liked him. I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. They're really trying to protect their top player.
Right.
And everybody rallied around him. This is before KD got there. And so I was like, you know what? He's doing, I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing that special thing that everybody says, you know what? I'm glad that dude's on my team. That's what Trae Young's got to be. You got to be one of those guys that everybody says, you know what? Y'all got Luka, you got you guys. We got our guy. And I tell you what, we'll be okay. We'll win because we have this guy. And that is really hard to teach, man. That's that special something that, you know, you could see it in Magic, you could see it in Larry, you could see it in different people. Michael, people would rally around him. And that's, you know, that's what he has got to develop.
That's the intangible thing that does not show up in the box score, but that's someone that we're very familiar with, LeBron James. He has that intangible.
He got all of it.
Yeah, he has all that,
everything.
spades and you know, aces, and he's got it all, baby.
#1 in assists this season. How about that?